Hello, people of YouTube, people of Internet, and people of world. It is I, the Classic Juan, coming to you from my ever-growing gaming room and museum for another week of awesome classic gaming. On the books tonight, or I guess on the let me get my light source here all fixed. I don't know what's going on. So on the list today for playing is a game called the Global Gladiators, specifically Mick and Mack as the Global Gladiators. And this is a game released, I think it was in 1992. It was a continuation of a game that was real heavy with McDonald's, and so this is kind of a similar game there. So great game. Was very well received when it did initially come out, and so we're gonna play that for you guys today. So I hope you guys are ready for that excitement and fun. So if you guys are watching live, please chat in the chat there. Always more fun when you do that. Definitely makes the game more exciting, more fun to play when you guys are interacting with me. Gabriel's here, so everybody say hello to Gabriel in the chat room. So today, before we start playing this awesome game and we go into all the details of this game, for our beverage of this evening. So today, continuing on with, I guess, what I started last week and what Gabe did yesterday, we're going to be having a real ale brewery out of Blanco, Texas, Axis IPA. So this is IPA. It's got a lot of citrus flavors and tropical fruit, and really just kind of a different IPA than most. If you go to the Real Ale website, you can get all the info on it. So important stuff, just for comparison from what Gabe did yesterday. Gabe's white Belgian wheat beer had an IBU score, an International Bitterness Units score of 25. This guy has a 60, so far more bitter beer than what Gabe had yesterday. Gabe's alcohol by volume was 4.6. This guy's 7.1. Last week, we tasted the Lost Gold IPA. That one's IBU was 62. Alcohol by volume was 6.6. So I was kind of doing a little reading about this Axis IPA. So the reason that they made this Axis IPA was because there's not a lot of Texas IPAs. And so IPAs are really predominantly made by a lot of these Western states. And so the Real Ale is trying to get into the business of making IPAs, good IPAs, to basically make it a native species here locally in Texas, where everybody will be drinking IPAs. And they did a great job with this one. I've already had a couple of these earlier in the week, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, and I'll pour it for you guys so you guys can see the color and all that kind of good stuff. So the reason it's called an Axis IPA, and it's got a little deer on it. This is an Axis deer, and so I'm a biologist by nature. So the genus and species of that deer is Axis. And I think it's kind of a unique choice because the deer is native to Texas. It was actually supplanted in 1932 from, you guessed it, India, Southern Asian country. So it came from India originally, and now it's extremely native to Texas, specifically the Edwards Plateau area, because that area mimics the original habitat for this deer. And so how fitting for an Indian deer that was supplanted to Texas to be the image for an Indian pale ale that is becoming native to Texas. So I thought that was a cool little Easter egg, so to speak, a beer Easter egg. All right, so let's pour this guy for you guys. Look at that color. Great color. Great color. Nice golden, almost transparent color. What up, Andy? All right, let's have a drink. So this is kind of a unique beer. And I know I'm talking a little bit much about the beer right now before we get into the game, and it's funny because it's a McDonald's game. But it's kind of an unusual flavor because you get a lot of fruitiness and citrus from it, but it's bitter at the same time and super smooth. So it's almost like your brain doesn't really understand what's happening with this beer. So the beer is the Axis IPA from Real Ale Brewing out of Blanco, Texas. The game is Mick and Mack Global Gladiators on the Sega Genesis. So citrus flavor, really bitter. Not really bitter. It's like middle of the road bitter, and plenty of alcohol. So fantastic beer. Highly recommend. If you guys have never tried any Real Ale brewing beer, recommend. This one is specific if you're into IPAs or if you're thinking about getting into them. This one is a good transitional one just because of the citrus flavors kind of overshadow the bitterness of it, which makes it very palatable, especially for real sensible palates who have not had IPAs or really bitter beers in the past. All right, I'm gonna reset this game just because I want you guys to see the intro, because I always felt like it was taunting me. Oh, that's not what it's supposed to do. Let's try this again. Of course you're going to give me trouble now that we're streaming. I did this like 7 times before we started streaming just to make sure that it would go. All right, give me 1 second. We're going to do a classic thing. So it is a original cartridge for the Genesis. Do one of those guys. Holy smokes. Come on, man. You're making me look bad. Now it's really taunting me. All right. Always technical difficulties with these things. Oh, I think I know what may be happening. Give me 1 quick second. You sucker. Booger Man. I do remember that. Booger Man. I don't know if it was I remember games that were like, or not games, but levels that were very Booger-like on Earthworm Jim. But I don't remember a game called Booger Man specifically. Yep. See, the game always taunted me by saying virgin at the beginning, and I felt like they were insulting me. I mean, I was a virgin at the time, but I just felt taunted. All right, let's play this game. So, oh shoot. So I'm going to put in a code for this game real quick, just so that I can put in to get extra lives during the course of the game, just so we can work our way through. So here we go. Let's do this game. It should say cheat mode activated at the bottom when we do this. So I'm going to try to reset it, and hopefully we don't get screwed. We got it? Cheat mode activated. All right. Success. All right. So after however long that's been, 10 minutes, let's play this game. Simple game is pretty simple. You shoot, you jump. And your goal is to collect these McDonald's symbols. So pretty basic premise here. And don't die, obviously. That's the most important thing. Dying is a bad thing. So this game, like I would say a lot of things in the 90s, is very heavily like geared towards making kids environmentally conscious. So like whenever people are like, you guys are a bunch of snowflakes and lamos, I feel like that was by design. I feel like all of the old people that came before us kind of made us this way by creating cartoons like Captain Planet and video games about, saving the earth from toxins and trash and lame stuff. Konami code, yeah. So it does kind of look like that now that you point that out, Gabe. This is actually the gameplay, or the engine that was used for the gameplay for this game is actually the same game engine that they used for I don't know if you ever played the game Cool Spot. It's like the 7-Up Spot. He had his own game. It was that, but also Aladdin. If you ever played Aladdin, the same engine as those games. So, and I think a lot of these like 16-bit games had some similar designs. My wife and I were actually watching a video the other day, or maybe I was just watching it, maybe not my wife at all, but I was watching a video about Ren and Stimpy the other day, and oh yeah, we were talking about how nasty we felt sometimes watching Ren and Stimpy. Like, you just felt dirty. I felt dirty. Like, I'd watch it and I'd be like, am I supposed to be watching this? Like, whenever my parents would walk in on me watching Ren and Stimpy, I'm like, is this dirty? Like, it was almost like I was watching porn or something. Like, that's how dirty I felt about the whole thing. I don't know if you guys ever watched Ren and Stimpy or anything like that, but that was just one of those things that was on, and somehow made it through censors for children to watch on Nickelodeon that would never like pass par for the current generations, or even for TV viewing in general currently. I guess our parents were a little bit more laid back when it came to like the things that we could watch. All I remember, or not all I remember, but one of the biggest things I remember from Ren and Stimpy is just Ren constantly calling Stimpy an idiot. And he would say, "You idiot!" I love that. It's classic. So I do not have a double jump option, so if you guys ever say, double jump, I can't. That's just not an option, and I can't down jump either. Oh. Whoa. So what you want to do is collect as many of these McDonald's symbols as you can. There's also like a special bonus level. Should you collect a sufficient amount of these McDonald's symbols. I try to prep myself for this game a little bit and like scour the internet and see if like there was a map of where all these little McDonald's symbols were, and there's no such map. It would have been cool to have that so that I could see whether or not I was gaining sufficient amounts. But that doesn't exist, so it is what it is. I feel dirty even now watching that show. Yeah, there's just something about Ren and Stimpy that makes you feel dirty on the inside. This delicious beer. This is a delicious beer. I have it in my live oak pint glass, which, sorry, real ale for not putting you in your own proper glass, but it is what it is. Welcome to the stream, where we do things a little backwards sometimes. It's kind of like whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up and the points don't matter. I don't know what I just gained, but I'm glad that I gained it. Once again, unsure what I gained, but I'm glad I gained it. So I don't know if you guys have or have not read Ready Player One, but there's a movie coming out about that book. And if you haven't read it and you're really into classic gaming and just nostalgic stuff in general, I highly recommend you read it before the movie comes out, because I can almost guarantee you that there's going to be so much stuff left out, and not for any other reason than just licensing. Like, there's just so many references in that book. Save one for me. I've got an extra white for you. That can be arranged, Gabriel. I was never sure if Stimpy was a guy or a girl. That's a fair question, Andy. I don't know. Now you're making me ponder everything I knew about that show. Ah, damn it. Ah. Get up there. Ah. Come on. There we go. Boo. All right. Run, 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 run. Oh, I see. Hey, it's Ronald. Slime 102. So in the bottom left-hand corner of the game, you'll see a clock. That clock is actually supposed to be ticking down. You get 8.5 minutes per area to kind of find all these McDonald's symbols and clear it. But since I put in the code, the clock doesn't tick. Imagine that. A Sega game where you could override the clock? Memo would lose his mind if he knew such a thing existed. I hope you're watching, Memo, and I hope your mind is being blown right now by the non-moving clock on a Sega Genesis game. So this game was actually going to be ported to the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, but the port never really came to fruition. It's just one of those things that just didn't happen. So it was happening, and then just like mid-development, they just kind of were like, meh. We're cool, and it just stopped. Nobody knows why. Nobody will probably ever find out why, but it is the thing that happened. Damn it. Whoops. Boo. How do I get up there? How do I get up there? Oh shoot, that was dangerous AF. Alright, here we go. Can I climb this thing? Nope. Baka. Back in the day, there was no Googly. You had to get that gamer mag from school. Yeah, you did. Somebody bought the magazine and would lend it to you. You'd have to go to the store and they'd have to have it in stock. And hopefully it had the codes that you wanted at the back. I would always buy Tips and Tricks. That was my magazine that I went to. Nintendo Power. But Tips and Tricks was definitely my go-to magazine. I think everybody kind of had their own like default gamer magazine that they went to. Ah, that was dirty. They did me dirty. Did you guys see that? I know you guys saw that. Gotcha, sucker. So the clock would add time to my current run, but clearly that is not going to be an issue for me. Oh, and I clearly don't run out of lives either, so this is made for streaming. This little cheat mode. It's like the only way I can die is if I fall in these things or hit these things, and clearly I'm doing all those things because I keep dying like a fool. Alright. So the goal is to get 75 of these little McDonald's icons. Of course, the thing that you would really want, you'd have to skip. Ah! All right, 25 more to go. We'll be in business. No! Son of a monkey's uncle. Son of a memorandum. Ah! Just did it terrible. Yep, Nintendo Power. Gabe, what was your magazine of preference? Did you have a magazine of preference? Or were you like a freeloader like my brother? He would just take whatever he could get. That's right. I know you're watching, brother. hiding, but you're watching. Ah. Alrighty. Working through the level. One of the things I love about a lot of these games, and it's gonna sound semi-stupid, but hopefully not completely stupid, is the like semi-redundancy of the game. Like, there's an objective. Just clear the objective. There was no like, you know, with some of these games, there was no like trying to figure it out and, you know, a lot of puzzles. It was just like, do the thing. Just like in this situation, get all the M's and get to the end. Like, that's it. That's all you gotta do. It's not rocket science. I think this is the end of the level here. Ooh, I need 2 more M's. Let's see if we can find them here somewhere. Here's one. One more. Oh, there it is. I mean, there's clearly more than that in the stage. I'm just going for 75 because you can get bonus level if once you get 75. Bonus game. So the reason that I kind of bring up the redundancy of the games is because these games, when video games first came out, they were geared towards children, kids, young adults. That's what the game was built for. It was built for them to play. And so the ease of play was great. And I'm probably going to write a really, or make a really long video about this whole theory that I have. But the general synopsis is this, and I'm going to drink this before I start talking. The general synopsis is this, and I have kids, and if you guys have kids, you'll understand, or at least if you have kids that you want to get into gaming, you'll understand. But these games, as we grew up, were built for kids. Are y'all going to play any original PlayStation games? I did play an original PlayStation game a couple weeks ago, Andy, but I will be hitting up some more original PlayStation games. So if you have any thing that you'd like me to play for that or on that console, I am more than happy to do it. All right, let's recycle. Paper. Can. Another can. Another can. Can. Glass bottle. Paper. Look at this. Teaching children to recycle. Glass bottle. Glass bottle. Because you got to separate. You got to separate your recycling. Oh. Gotta focus. Sorry, guys. Taking a mental break here. I earned a smiley. Thanks, smiley. All right. Resident Evil, do it. Resident Evil Director's Cut. I can do that. I don't have that game, but I will find that game for you, and I will play it. I mean, it's only $100 on Amazon, but I'll find it. Don't you worry your pretty little head. Resident Evil Director's Cut. I'll make a note, mental note. So it won't be next time, but it'll be soon. So I have kids, and I want to get my daughter into gaming. And so my whole theory was like, I'm going to teach them the way that I learned. And we kind of got a huge, that sucked. We got a huge advantage in gaming for the simple fact that we grew up with gaming. That's the way we grew up. We were built that way. Interesting. We were built that way. Gaming was born at about the same time that we were. And so we got to experience the growth with the consoles, with the industry. And so games, like I said earlier, were geared towards children. They were geared towards us as children. As we've aged and matured, so have the games. The whole industry has matured. And so the games all remain geared towards us, towards the people who were kids when the gaming started. That's who the games are geared towards now. That's why you see all these, essentially adult and mature games. The problem lies in that a lot of the mentality with adults and with parents is that they still believe that games are for kids. All games are for all kids. And that's kind of the same mentality that people have with cartoons and stuff, but that's a different topic, and we won't get into that right now. But that mentality has kind of screwed this generation. So you got like 8 and 9-year-olds playing Call of Duty or these really like ultra realistic, ultra violent games before they're ready for that. And so I was always like, I'm going to teach my kids the right way. I'm going to start them off with Mario. Well, my daughter's about to be 4. I remember Memo and I playing that on the Sega Saturn. Nice. Oh, Memo has a Sega Saturn now. He may be able to play it for you on the Sega Saturn. I don't know. We'll ask him. But yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna teach my kids the right way. I'm gonna teach them how to game the way that I learned how to game. And when I learned how to game, I started with Super Mario Brothers, and I was just a kid. And so my kids will learn with Super Mario Brothers. Well, my daughter's she's a little over 3.5. She's about to be 4, and she wants to get into gaming because everything is technology now. And I don't want her to start doing these hardcore games, though I do expect that at some point in the future she will as she gets older. But I try to start her off with Mario. But she's not even 4 yet. And so the idea of her playing Mario, being even anywhere near remotely controlled enough to do that, was kind of far-fetched, but I gave her a shot. To do that, and yeah, no, she wasn't ready for that. And so she keeps dying on the first Koopa Troopa, and you know me, I'm a big fan of like, yeah, you keep trying until you get it. You keep trying until you get it. Well, she's not gonna get it. She's not coordinated enough. She doesn't know that she can hit jump and move at the same time. It's just not gonna happen. And so in comes the retro, classic, new age combination of games in the Super Nintendo Classic. We're playing I'm playing the Super Nintendo Classic, and my daughter wants to play. And so she's like, pick a game. I want to play a game. So fine. I played the game that I think will be the most interesting to her, but at the same time the easiest to manipulate or control. And so I put on Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo, the original Mario Kart, and she freaking loves it. Biggest problem is that, once again, because she's not even 4 yet, there's absolutely no coordination there. She can't like go hit the gas and the directional keys at the same time. She's not coordinated enough. But we played the game for probably a good 30 minutes to an hour. And as we played the game, I could see her coordination skills getting better and better and better. And so I could see her gaining the skills that she would need to eventually become a good gamer. She wasn't very good, mind you, at the end of the hour, but she at first didn't grasp the concept of I can hit the B button and give the car some gas and go left and right at the same time. By the end of that, she was getting that concept down a little bit. My daughter was also kind of doing one of these motions, so if she wanted to turn left, she'd pull the controller left. If she wanted to turn right, she'd pull the controller right, but she wouldn't hit the actual button. And so I had to teach her that the buttons are more important than the motion. But we did buy a Wii recently, and so I may be able to circumvent that with a Wii controller and seeing if the motion will be more to her speed. But she understands the concept, and so those ideas get supplanted into your kids' heads, which is important, because if you get your kids playing games, non-realistic games like this game that I'm playing right now, where they're not trying to kill other people or fight against people online. They're killing toxic radiation monsters. You know, you basically saved your kid's mind from, dare I say it be too soon to say, but, you know, doing things where they're shooting other people or not understanding the value of human life. And so I'm not saying that video games are to blame for that. I mean, there's a lot of components, but I feel like the argument of saying like, no, video games don't make people more violent. Well, neither does putting a gun in somebody's hand, but it doesn't help the circumstance. I'm not saying that the gun is not a problem. I'm just saying that it inherently doesn't make a person more violent. It's just it doesn't help the situation at all. And so I feel like violent games in a young mind doesn't help the situation at all. You know, for me and for a lot of people, video games are an escape. You play the game to escape from the real world, kill toxic monsters, and focus on the task at hand for a good hour out of your day. Maybe more, maybe less. But that's an hour that you don't have to think about the things that are stressing you out in the real world. And then you get back to it and you keep moving on. But it provides you an escape without having to turn to things that can really have a significant impact on your life. And I think that we need to re-instill that idea, that concept into these kids' minds that, you know, life sucks sometimes and video games are an outlet, not a method to hone a skill that you don't even really need. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a gamer. But just some food for thought, ideas rolling around in my brain, things that I've thought about. Ooh. Desensitization, exactly, my friend. Desensitization. I think I have a video early in the channel called ADHD, Attention Deficit in High Definition. And that's pretty much what we've become. A high definition, obsessed society. And so everything is scrutinized under a microscope and amplified and seen extraordinarily clear. And so everybody sees everything all the time, and nothing matters anymore because you've already seen it before 100 times. What's going on with this level? I don't like this. All right, let's just bounce past this stage and see what happens. I did do it, and I'm a cheater. Huzzah! What dangers await you in the mystical forest? Oh shit! Fucking snakes and woodchucks. Alright, shit just got real, guys. Now I'm having I am no longer fighting toxic monsters. I am now fighting woodland creatures. I feel like this literally just contradicted everything I just said about like trying to teach you how to like fight against not real things. Like trying to save the planet, and now I'm just killing woodland creatures. What is a fucking axe? Alright. So according to this game, we don't like weeds. We don't like chipmunks and humanoid axes. Alright, how do I get down there? Oh, here we go. Whoa. That was some bullshit. Cheater! Yeah. I did it. I did it. I did cheat. It's all for the stream. For the love of the stream. In case you hadn't noticed, Andy, I've been cheating this whole time. I don't take any damage when I get hit. I don't lose any lives when I die. The clock's not ticking at all. I see what needs to happen here. You'll die, squirrelies. Now I'm not saying, after my long rant going back to that, I'm not saying that nobody should play these hyper-realistic games. I'm just saying, like, there should be a limit. Like, you know, like going to the army, you're drinking. Like, you need to be 18, 21 to do these things. Or, watch these movies. I mean, the video games should probably be on the same ratings board as, and gaming companies probably won't like what I'm about to say, but they should probably be on the same ratings board as movies, because it's pretty much the same thing. It's like you're watching a movie at this point. It's so realistic. An animated movie, but a movie nonetheless, and you get to play through it. It's like a choose your own adventure almost. They had this great idea, and I kind of look forward to it becoming a reality, because it was in the book. And so in the book Ready Player One, semi-spoiler alert, I guess. One of the things, or one of the games that is invented as part of kind of the contest is, this simulated. You get to be the main character of a movie. Like, you get to say all the lines and act the part and do all that stuff. And I just thought that was such a cool idea, and it would be so awesome to do that in real life. Like go into your own movie and act it and be the main character and be surrounded by these people in a simulated environment. Pretty cool. Did you ever beat the original Contra without cheating? I don't think I ever did beat the original Contra without cheating. I don't think anybody ever beat the original Contra without cheating. That's not true. I'm sure there's speedrunners who play the original Contra like it's nobody's business and are just able to like fly through the game. So I don't know if one of you guys watching can like hop on YouTube or the Googly and see what the fastest speedrun is for Contra. But I bet you somebody can do it in like, less than half an hour probably. But yeah, no, I was never that fantastic of a gamer. I didn't hone my skills sufficiently enough. Cause like I said, like most of us here at the Bearded Gaming crew, we're kind of leisure players. We just kind of play for the fun of the game. Enjoy the story. I mean, there's no story here, but enjoy the story. Enjoy the adventure. The time that the that the game creators took into designing the game, the characters, the story, kind of flushing it all out, the beauty of the surrounding environments in the newer games. You know, for a 2D side scroller, this is kind of a these levels are kind of on the longer side as far as like length. Not to say that I don't like it. I think it's great. I just interesting. I hadn't really thought about that until just now. Typically, you'd have a lot of these levels. But they'd be really short. And so here you get, I think this game is a total of 12 levels. Oh shoot. Híjole. Man, those guys got poked. No bueno. Oh, and I'm gonna have to find another way. To the top. Run. 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 Dude, how am I gonna get over that? Alright, if there's no way, you know what we're gonna have to do. I don't want to do it, but we're gonna do it if we have to. Aha. Oh, one more. One more. Don't be. Damn it. Alright. I need one more. There has to be one here that I missed. All I need is one. All I need is one mic. Somewhere. Oh, I see some. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So, as per the usual, guys, here at the end of July is Classic Game Fest, which is the Bearded Gamers' favorite time of the year. Classic Game Fest is here in Austin. It is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, no, it actually is the biggest retro gaming convention in the country. So if you guys are able to come out or are from Texas, please come out here to Austin for the 2-day event. It is fantastic. The cost of the weekend isn't very much, $20 I think for the whole weekend. There's a bunch of vendors with all sorts of classic games. If you want to expand your collection, that is the place to do it. They got I shouldn't even say hundreds, thousands of classic games. They have hundreds of consoles for sale, accessories, you know, ancillary devices, everything that you could imagine. They have a museum there set up. It's just a ton of awesomeness. They also have tournaments that we participate in. Last year, I participated in the oh damn it! Last year I participated in the balloon fight tournament. I got second place. I lost only to someone who was actually an employee of the people that were putting on the convention, so that was kind of like a big cheat move there. But anyway, I got second place, so just rip them off the net. So, highly recommend. So yeah, so if you guys are trying to expand your classic gaming collection, you just want to hang out with a bunch of people who also like classic and retro gaming, come out to Classic Game Fest. if you check out our Instagram, our photo with Ernest Cline, the author of Ready Player One, is from that convention. That's where we got to meet him. That's where we took that awesome picture. We were actually the last people in line to get our books signed by him. So we actually got to hang out with him for a few minutes and talk about the book, talk about the movie. We talked about a lot of stuff, and it was awesome. Very, very fun to get that one-on-one time with him. If we had the ability to live stream at that time, we probably would have been able to live stream a real quick last-second interview with Ernest Cline for Instagram. So it sucks that we didn't, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So, all right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to kind of take this time to call it. I know it's about 9 minutes early, but been playing this game. It's fun. There's a lot of, obviously, redundancy to it, but a game that was well received at its time. I enjoy it now. It's just one of those games that you can sit down, play. There's no, like, urgency. You could sit there, take your time. You put in the code. The time never stops. You just bounce around and search, and it's a game that I think my kids would really enjoy. Now that I know the code for it, we can get them playing it without the fear of them dying 100 million times and having to constantly reset. I'm sure they'd appreciate that. And so, yeah, Global Gladiators definitely made an impact for me. Obviously, I own the game. This is a copy that I've had since I was a kid. I loved it then. I still enjoy it now. Just a general recap for all you guys who follow us on Instagram. Please continue to do so. We really appreciate that. We have also joined a new social network called Vero, V-E-R-O, so you could search us there. We'll be posting content there as well. We are the Beer Dead Gamers, no spaces, all together and with a Z, and that's Beer Dead, as you see. Yeah, down there, I think, in the name of the channel. So yeah, come find us, come hang. We always love having you. So yesterday you saw Jack of All Gabes. He is always streaming on Mondays, 8:30. Does a great job. I think he'll be hitting Master Prestige soon, so stay tuned for that. You'll always catch me on Tuesdays at 9 playing some classic retro game, and I'm going to see if I can't get a hold of Resident Evil Director's Cut from a good friend, Andy, so we can play through some of that. Heck, we might even make a whole couple weeks worth of it and just try to get through the whole game. That'll be entertaining, but we'll definitely try to work through that. And then you should be able to catch Memorandum on Wednesday. His work schedule had been pretty crazy, so you guys haven't seen a whole lot of him, but he should be back on regularly. I think Wednesdays are his normal streaming day, but you know, it's always random with Memorandum, so he likes to keep us on our toes. So you should be seeing a huge uptick in our social media posting. We have reshifted the way that we're going to be dealing with that, and so you guys should enjoy just a nice constant slew of streaming information from all of our social accounts. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, our Vero account, all those things. You should be seeing a whole lot coming from there. Always catch us on the YouTube channel. Subscribe if you like it. Don't if you don't. Comment what we can do to improve, or just comment if you have a comment. So thanks for coming out, guys. This was Real Ale, Classic IPA, Sega Genesis, Mick and Mack Global Gladiators. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Andy, thanks for chatting with me the whole hour today. I really appreciate that. And as always, guys, you know what to do, and that is keep it classic.